In this video, I'm going to cover a real basic distinction from Chapter 1, Exercise 2, sufficient versus necessary condition. I've gone ahead and typed out the definition of the key terms here. Maybe the definition doesn't really clarify. The important part is practicing. The definition is great. In fact, I'd encourage you to get this definition down in your notes. It's straight out of the book. But before you take the test, be sure, of course, to check out the study guide. The study guide is actually pretty thorough. It gives you a list of all the terms that you need to know. It'll give you the format of the test, the time limit of the test, what will be expected of you. So when it comes to the definitions like this, make sure you get them all straight. Get a good set of notes. You'll be able to use those on the test. So add these to your notes. Again, maybe it doesn't really do it for you here, but let's go through it real quickly. A is said to be a sufficient condition for B whenever the occurrence of A is all that is needed. And I put here the key phrase in boldface type, all that is needed for the occurrence of B. And again, maybe that formal definition makes your head spin here, but hopefully with a little practice, it'll start to become real simple. B is said to be a necessary condition. There's the only other vocab that you need for 1.2 exercise 6. A necessary condition for A, whenever A cannot occur without. And I've put the key phrase here in boldface type, cannot occur without the occurrence of B. So if none of that really makes sense, let's go through some examples. 1.2 exercise 6. Being a tiger is a blank condition for being an animal. Being a tiger is a sufficient condition for being an animal. Certainly something can be an animal, but not be a tiger. So being a tiger is a sufficient condition for being an animal. But let's take a look at number 2 here. Being an animal is a necessary condition for being a tiger. Cannot occur without. Being an animal is a necessary condition for being a tiger. Being an animal certainly isn't a sufficient condition, certainly isn't all that's needed for being a tiger. Being a tiger is a sufficient condition for being an animal. Being an animal is a necessary condition for being a tiger. So hopefully these two examples go a long way in clarifying the formal definitions that are provided in the text. Let's take a look at a few more examples. Of course, practice in this exercise, check your answers. Let me know if you have any questions. If you're making mistakes, let's correct that before the test. As always, I know I've said that in every video I think so far, but of the utmost importance, critical thinking involves a series of skills. The best way to acquire those skills is, again, to practice. Burning leaves is a blank condition for producing smoke. It's a sufficient condition, certainly isn't a necessary condition. You could produce smoke without burning leaves. You could burn something else. Maybe you could burn your logic textbook. No, not really. But that would, of course, create smoke. So paying attention is a necessary condition for understanding a lecture. You can't understand the lecture without paying attention. Now, paying attention isn't a sufficient condition for understanding. Maybe you're paying perfect attention, but you still don't understand. Paying attention is a necessary condition for understanding. You can't understand unless you're paying attention, but you can pay attention without understanding. So there's the basic distinction, sufficient versus necessary condition. 1.2 exercise 6. Take a look, practice, let me know.